It's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking NBA action headed out east where the Celtics are hosting the Nuggets. It's President's Day week, which means we've got a nice little code for 20% off the entire site of picksandparlays.net. Use the code USA. The advanced line has the Nuggets favored -1.5 on the road. Total is 221.5. Denver 15-11 on the season. 12-14 against the number. Meanwhile, the Celtics are 13-13, both straight up and against the spread. The Nuggets coming off that big win over the Lakers. Meanwhile, Boston has lost 4 out of their last 5, both straight up and against the number. We've got Nick from the Insider's Room to break this one all down for us. Nick, initial thoughts on Nuggets and Celtics?
I think that Denver plays better at home than it does on the road. I think this sets up as a bit of a letdown spot here on the road against a Boston team that desperately needs a win here. And I think part of the reason why this line isn't out is probably because they're a little unsure of who's going to play for Boston. For me, this is a great situational play. Whoever plays for Boston, I think the Celtics are going to dig deep here and find a way to get the job done. So yeah, Boston, as you said, it's lost 4 of its last 5 against the spread, and that included a poor 104-91 setback at Washington, and that was after losing at home 108-102 to Detroit. So I mean, the Celtics are desperate to break out of this slide. They can't take anything for granted, especially with what could prove to be a really difficult 2-game set against the Hawks, which starts the following night. So yeah, I mean, this is an important game. But for Denver, I mean, it does come off that really satisfying 122-105 win over the Lakers. It's won 3 straight after that loss at home to the Bucks. But the Nuggets here, I mean, they have a more winnable game, I would say, tomorrow night in the nation's capital. They're at Washington tomorrow. You mentioned Boston's sort of mediocre record there, but it is 6-4 at home. And the Nuggets, they are 7-5 on the road, but they're just 2-7 against the spread in their last 9 after scoring 120 or more points in a straight up and against the spread victory at home. So that plays into my letdown theory here as well, Chelsea. For me, in the end, it's going to come down to which of these 2 teams is the hungrier team. And for me, that's definitely Boston.
Yeah, and you've mentioned Celtics a lot better at home. Against the spread, they're 7-3 at home as opposed to 6-10 on the road against the number. I think the Celtics, they've hit a rough patch lately. I think without Marcus Smart, they've been struggling. They've been 3-5 since Marcus Smart left that team with, I think it's a calf injury. But I think they've struggled on the defensive front, and that's really where Marcus Smart usually puts his signature on this team. Actually, he's been a lot better offensively this year as well. But this is a Nuggets team that's pretty solid as well, I'd say. And nobody, it seems like, can guard the Joker down low. And I don't see the Celtics doing that either. But looking at a total of 221.5, any leanings there?
I would agree with you. I think that the Joker is a bit of a mismatch problem. And so that means that the Boston is going to have to push the pace. They're going to have to, put up some points here. And so I'm going to go with the over. I mean, previous to the win over the Lakers, which went under, the Nuggets had seen the total go over in 6 straight. Now the Celtics, they've seen the total go under the number in 2 straight, and that came in those 2 horrible losses against 2 of the worst teams in the league. And so obviously Boston cannot afford to get out to another slow start here. It has to come out guns a-blazing. And so, I think this number is a little low. I expect a faster paced game, and so I'm going to go with the over as far as the total is concerned.
All right, that's going to do it for our NBA talk here on Picks and Parlays. Great stuff from Nick from the Insider's Room. As always, Nick, thanks for joining us.